Men are big on authenticity, even if they don't use the word. Why? Because women are big on it. This video is inspired by a tweet with a user with the handle lookatdworld, and it's common as hell, so I thought, why not put together a video where we can talk about it. In this one, she says, men should be naturally attractive, live life on their own terms, and create the life they want, rather than learning to be attractive with tricks and techniques to pretend you're someone you're not. And if you're a woman watching this, you probably understand exactly what she means. The problem is, this is a female solution to a female problem. Men do not have intrinsic worth, so it's entirely possible that being yourself is the worst thing to tell a guy because his authentic, natural self is objectively unattractive. And don't get me started on the idea of being naturally attractive. That's a meaningless term. It's what I call a container word. When you tell a guy he should be naturally attractive, it's no different than telling a well-meaning but foolish parent who calls her kid very smart. What you're actually saying is this should come effortlessly or not at all. And here's the problem. Sticking with the smart guy analogy here. Smart guys are told they're smart. Smart guys treat their smartness as an identity. I know because I used to be this guy. And once we make something our identity, it becomes our ego. And we protect it against all better sense. Our ego is not our friend. So the smart guy ends up not doing anything that becomes difficult, because if it doesn't come effortlessly, then we have to make a choice. We can feed our ego by making an excuse why we can't be bothered, or accept that you're not so smart that you'll never face challenges. And most people take their ego. So when you're told to be yourself, to be naturally attractive, which is a meaningless term with horrible implications, guys who get girls without any self-awareness are the naturals. They do things that make them attractive. They have status, they have physique, they have charisma, and charm to some extent or another. They don't know why, they just are. And you wouldn't know either if you had a few good experiences when you were still growing up in those formative years. But most guys don't get the luxury. So, thank your mom for telling you to be yourself, and thank your dad for not correcting her. When you tell a guy to be naturally attractive, what you're telling him is that you don't do things that get outside your comfort zone. If you don't like bars, don't go to bars. If you think it's disrespectful to tell a girl you want to sleep with her, then don't let her know you want to. If you don't want to treat a girl like a piece of meat because she's the mother of your children, well then don't treat her like a piece of meat, she's the mother of your children. You see the issue here? Consider the fact that who you are when you're being natural is unattractive and self-sabotaging when it comes to male and female sexual dynamics. Guys are what we do. We aren't intrinsically valuable. Women are, because they were given the plumbing at birth. A great metaphor to describe this is saying girls are flowers. Flowers are perfect the instant you pluck them, but it's a race against time to find a pot before they wither and die. Men, on the other hand, men are clay. Clay is a useless blob of dirt. But you put some work into it, you can turn it into something. You fire it, make it into a pot, it all of a sudden becomes useful. So men aren't born, men are made. That's why you can't just be yourself or be natural. I mean, I find it interesting. Nowhere else but with relationships are people held to this standard. Chefs have cookbooks, chefs have schools, chefs have apprenticeships. Mechanics, they have manuals, they have co-op programs. Mechanics start by working on simple engines. And writers, they have writing groups, editors, hundreds of thousands of crappy pages of practice work. But attractive men and their behaviors? Well, you better hope you came down from the mount with that one. There's two nuggets of wisdom in this. One, that no one should feel bad that they have to learn a skill to be successful at it. And 2, it's a fool's errand to justify it to somebody else, especially to a woman who's never going to understand it. I mean, women don't have the same struggle. They're the receptive side of seduction. Their job is, they look good, they act pleasant, they make themselves available, and they don't veto your advances if they're interested. A girl would rather go home alone than take the chance of rejection by approaching that guy, even if she knows he's interested in her. To a girl, the idea that you may have to temper your conversation and behaviors to meet a goal would be like asking them to grow an arm out of their forehead. God, why? But for a guy, it takes effort, especially if you weren't taught this at a young age. So being attractive is a skill, and it's only tangentially related to your value as a human being. If you don't believe me, ask yourself why that dealer from your college got all the girls while you were friend-zoned by them. I mean, it requires many things. Having something that women want, being emotionally engaging, looking good, knowing how to set up your logistics well enough so things can just happen, wink wink, and none of this stuff happens naturally. Now, you can do these things without being aware of them, and a lot of guys do, but if you're watching this, chances are that guy's not you. You, fortunately, are going to have to work. You're going to have to catch what you eat. And the second part, this is the difficult part for guys. Let's say you actually get off your butt and you actually learn how to talk to women and how to be attractive when you do. How to earn enough money that you have something better than your parents' basement to take the girl back to. I mean, you've kept yourself in good enough shape that she would rather finger your abs than finger her phone. You're interesting, you're charismatic, you're physically attractive, you got everything you need, and you have the self-awareness to be able to use it effectively as a skill. And this is the thing that drives me nuts when I see it. It's the number one way I see a guy completely sabotage all that hard work, the work that took months, sometimes years to complete. They keep talking about the rules to the game, hoping the girl will thank them for it. If there is one quality about men that I would remove without hesitation, validation seeking would be the one, hands down. I say that because the reason girls think being naturally attractive is a good thing is because the people that were attractive, those who approached them and were attractive when they did it, they didn't talk to her about what it took for them to be attractive. They just did it. And she got to enjoy the ride. And I get it. If you've spent all this time working hard, being a better you, sacrificing so much in the short term that being yourself is actually attractive, well then, who after all this doesn't want a pat on the head and his own Attaboy award with a golden picture frame right above the mantle? Who doesn't want the princess at the end of the castle? Well, you don't. Because you're not going to sabotage your own happiness because you need somebody else to recognize how smart and naturally attractive you are. You worked on this skill to achieve a goal. You didn't work on this skill to have somebody tell you what a great person you are. Like I said way back in the beginning of this video, your ego is not your friend. So to sum this one up, being yourself is one of the worst things you can be told. It's the worst advice, and it encourages your ego to take charge of your romantic life and sabotage you every step of the way. So yeah, you're going to have to work at things to get success, and that's great, because you also have the self-awareness and the struggle that allows you to appreciate it. Thank you guys for sticking around till the end here. So I'll say it again. There's no such thing as being naturally attractive. There's guys who learned it early, and there's guys who are learning it later. Don't be afraid to have to learn to be better at something. And when you do, don't look at other people to validate that you've done this hard work. The reward is you're getting what you want out of the interactions. On that note, take care. A lot of what we discuss isn't socially acceptable. In this age of social media, you have to be careful. Luckily, we have a tight group of men in our Patreon, and we take off the filters so that we can speak frankly with each other, swap notes, and improve in the ways that matter to us. Check out the link in the description. For a couple bucks a month, you can have exclusive access to this stuff in its raw form and more. Plus, those awesome guys are the only reason we can keep putting out these videos.